Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily News Show, the news show powered by ohmTown.com. Today is March 31st, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 91. I am Mayor Watt, and up there is the latest visualizer for the sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
So today we're going to be talking about Your Blood is Sleepy, Shoplifter Horsepower, a Piece of Tropicana, ice cream recall in 16 states, Smothered Switzerland, McSki drive-thru, Hollywood accounting for games, song lyrics get simpler, another barge strike, and another ship crashes too. All that, a little bit of snark. Whoa. Hey, let's try that again. Because I had something muted. There you go. So we've set everything up, so we might as well talk about it, right?
That's why we're here.
So let's do it. The very first article, and we have transitions, is over in Technology Today. New blood test can identify sleep deprivation with over 99% accuracy. You know, I can do it too.
By yawning?
Yeah, incessant yawning and lane drift and smashing into a sliding glass door and all kinds of other things. They say they can do it via a blood test, but I guess you could take a sample off of the sliding glass door. Because when you're sleep deprived, you make really stupid actions. You do things that are goofy. You might hurt yourself or say something goofy. Kind of like maybe doing a show on Twitch. Okay, maybe not. There's the URL over in chat. A new blood test can detect 24-hour sleep deprivation with over 99% accuracy, offering potential improvements in road and workplace safety by preventing fatigue-related accidents from happening. The article's over at scitechdaily.com. University of Birmingham, in conjunction with Monash University in Australia, put this article together and did the research. I think it's kind of fascinating. So let's see. I am predicting that somewhere in this article, further away from sleep deprivation, you can actually measure how sleep deprived you might be. Did you only get 8 hours of sleep? What is the percentage? Right?
I mean, that would be really fascinating.
Yeah, I like this. It says this level. Maybe I haven't gotten enough sleep. This level of sleep deprivation increases the risk of serious injury or fatality in safety critical situations. It's published in Science Advances. The biomarker used a combination of markers found in the blood of healthy volunteers. Together, these markers accurately predicted when the study volunteers had been awake for more than 24 hours under controlled laboratory conditions. So they actually monitored them right up to the over 24-hour point. They were able to detect with a 99.2% probability of being correct when compared to their own well-rested sample. When a sample was considered without the well-rested comparison, it dropped to 89.1%, which is still very high.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Interesting. So senior author Professor Claire Anderson led the research while she was at Monash University School of Psychological Sciences and Turner Institute for Brain and Mental Health. She is now professor of sleep and circadian science at the University of Birmingham in the UK. Quote, "This is a really exciting discovery for sleep scientists and could be transformative to the future management of health and safety relating to insufficient sleep. While more work is required, this is a promising first step." Of course they're going to say it needs more.
So do you think this is going to be done like at checkpoints, or do you think it's going to be like if there's been an accident?
So the problem is, well, I mean, probably if there's an accident, they would do that because they might do that anyway because they have to test for alcohol. Um, so it says much further work would be needed if laws were to change and a sleep deprivation test introduced on the road or in workplaces. This would include further validation of biomarkers as well as establishing safe levels of sleep to prevent and recover from impairment, not to mention extensive legal process. So they refer to it as given its blood, the test is more limited to a roadside or in a roadside context, but future work could examine whether our metabolites and therefore the biomarker are evident in saliva or breath.
Oh, wow. So it'll be like the equivalent of a breathalyzer.
Possibly. Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Right now they're testing for metabolites, but I'm curious what the biomarker was because I don't think it actually says it. But maybe in the research paper itself. So I'll have to hunt down that research paper. Let's see if it says it at the very end. No, not really. So it says accurate detection. The reference is actually accurate detection of acute sleep deprivation using a metabolomic biomarker, a machine learning approach. So there's even the AI involved in it. It's fascinating.
Well, it's because it can pull a lot of data, right? And do a lot of number crunching.
Yeah, I suppose so. This is pretty neat. I dig this. Let's keep going, though. News waits for no one. So this next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Shoplifter chased by police on horses in New Mexico, according to a video. The man yells as he runs from the horse and police officer, "It wasn't me!" Sure, I'm going to hit play. I'll mute it. That is not... You know what? I'm going to refresh. It's over at abcnews.go.com. It's still not it. What the heck?
This is everything but the article.
And then it
Let's
replays.
assume it's not in the video.
So dumb. Anyway, so the article is by the AP. It says here, police in New Mexico had all the horsepower in this chase. A shoplifter was detained outside of Walgreens this month after trying to outrun a horse-mounted police officer. Albuquerque police body cam show a dark brown horse trotting through a parking lot behind a man in black clothing. You know, you want to be inconspicuous. Get in nothing but black clothing.
In the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day, yeah. They say it wasn't me as they're running away from this horse. And I assume the police officer, although they may be afraid of horses. One of the officers dismounts from the horse and handcuffs the man who has been charged with stealing $230 worth of merchandise from Walgreens. There isn't anything else to this article, and even the video.
I mean,
it started out so well.
Funny. Right.
Right? I'm going to refresh it.
I mean, it might
again.
be in there, but I don't know.
It was right there, and then it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Just, hi, bye. Okay, well, I can't do anything about it, so let's just keep going. This next article is over in Rounders Gear, which is a show about, well, what amounts to tabletop gambling. Tabletop games that are not role-playing games and Dungeons and Dragons type, I don't know how to
gambling.
So gambling. And I'm not really a gambler, so it was one of my areas. I may not even keep this channel live here in ohmTown.com as interests change. Well, anyway, though the Tropicana Las Vegas closes for good on April 2nd, mementos from the 67-year-old casino resort can be yours via a pre-demolition liquidation sale. Do you want that in the mayoral mansion? We can.
That would be a bit much. Plus, if people have been to Las Vegas, wouldn't they go, "Hey, isn't that from the Tropicana?"
Yeah. Hey. Staged by Ohio-based International Content Liquidations, the sale primarily features furniture, TVs, and fixtures from the Tropicana's restaurants and 1,800 hotel rooms. Prices on the items prices that have one go as low as $1, which can buy you a whole hotel dresser and all the stories that it might contain, and or bed bugs, and or whatever else. Though no traditional casino
selling this.
Yeah, so they've kept all of the casino memorabilia, traditional memorabilia, and most of the items lack any Tropicana branding. There's still plenty to interest casino collectors. This includes the chandelier from the resort's nightclub, patio furnishings from what at one point was the most luxurious pool in the Las Vegas Strip, and hundreds of gaming stools.
I mean, I guess if you have a resort size house, maybe you need some of this.
Talk about stadium seating for your home theater. Wow.
Exactly.
So it says, perhaps most intriguingly, seats, tables, and private booths from the Tropicana Theater are also up for grabs. People sitting in these 1,100 seats would have seen Anne Margaret, the Osmonds, and on the same bill, Pearl Bailey and comedian Jack Benny. I guess I don't care who sat their sweaty keister on these vinyl seats.
I mean, if you were a big fan of the Tropicana, I could see this would be of interest to you, but I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not interested in this. I am in the newsworthiness of it. Tropicana is closing down from Las Vegas. It's 67 years old. It's closing on April 2nd, so right around the corner, folks. There's an auction, and you can actually follow the link, and it'll take you over to casino.org. Corey Levitan is the author of this article. You can follow the link straight from chat or from the quick notes that are attached to the podcast and to the YouTube channel. Let's see here. Apparently in 1974, it was rechristened the Tiffany Theater and became the second and final Tropicana home for the Folies Bergeret, I guess. Showgirl show until its closure in 2009. Wait, those showgirls had been working there from 1974 until 2009?
Wow, that's a long career. I'm sure there was some turnover.
Oh, you think so? Next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Ice cream recall in 16 states has dire warning issued. Yeah, we kind of have these PSAs from time to time. I know that it's USA centric, but a lot of the news that we aggregate is either and then has some business ramifications. Gaming is global, so we talk about tech, and that's global as well. But some of the stuff we kind of draw attention to. Is it Tropical?
I think so. It's interesting after we were just talking about Tropicana.
Yeah. Tropical Foods is recalling packs of mini ice cream bars because they may have been contaminated with salmonella, which is you. Newsweek.com is where the article is. Khalida Rahman is the author. And there is a video, but it just says, what is a food recall? And really doesn't have anything to do with the show or with the news. The US
and it'd be difficult not to know what a food recall is, given that there are so many of them.
Yeah, exactly. So the FDA shared the announcement from Tropical Foods on its website on Saturday. Oh, wow. It's these actually really yummy looking fruit bars, mango bars.
That's not the type of item you would expect. Like, I think like an ice cream.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be... This says ice cream recall. These aren't ice creams. These are popsicles. Oh, wait. This is a stock photo. Son of a biscuit. You know what? Anyway,
you're right.
That's...
No. Mango bars are the thing. So the stock photo actually kind of matches what it is.
Yeah, see, but it doesn't. We don't know what it actually looks like. Anyway, the company's based in Modesto. It's recalling 5,224 units of Helios Mexico mini ice cream variety pack after testing that mango bars in the pack could be contaminated with salmonella. It's a little organism that causes infections, and if you're immunocompromised, including young or old, you can have serious impact. So go ahead.
So just for your reference, it looks more like an ice cream bar than this stock photo.
Yeah, see, and that is actually troublesome because it's misrepresenting the nature of the material. Because you might be on the lookout for ice cream, not popsicles. Oh, I don't have to worry about them because it doesn't look like this. Yeah, I think it's dangerous. So the products have a best buy date of 10/11/2025. Were distributed at retail locations in 16 states. So Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, Michigan, North Carolina, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee. Why does that look like more than 16? Tennessee.
It sure seems like it because you kept going and going.
They really leaned into the accent. Virginia, Wisconsin, and West Virginia. Are you kidding me? They were also sold in DC and locations in Europe.
So see, this one's international.
Yeah, and there's more from this source, but Khalida Rahman, I think that maybe you should first off get a spell checker that checks Virginia, and secondly, if you're going to use a stock photo, get one that's representative of the material that you're actually talking about, because this will falsely represent what people are actually dealing with. So, not throwing shade, just saying kind of fix the issues. Otherwise, it's not really news. It's more, well, a giant typo. And anyway, I haven't had enough caffeine. The next article is over on the Marble Channel. Saharan dust smothers Switzerland and southeast France. An exceptionally rare haze of Saharan dust cloaked Switzerland and southeastern France on Saturday, sparking health concerns as a yellow hue tinged the sky.
I don't think I've ever heard of Saharan dust covering somewhere outside of the region. Have you?
Nope. I cannot recall. We know that this kind of stuff happens regionally, but I have never heard of anything going all the way across the Mediterranean to cloak southeast France and Switzerland. These are only the two that are named. I'm sure that it was more extensive than that. Because if it's going to smother, or I guess do a fine dusting of southeast France, it's got to do more, right? I mean, it had to have blown over to Spain.
Right, I would think so.
Have clipped Italy. It couldn't have just been a torrent straight for southeast France and Switzerland. But I don't know. Maybe there's satellite photo that I can find.
It might have come if it went straight north. Maybe it kind of skipped Spain, but you'd think Spain would be impacted.
A little bit, right? I mean, it's more southeast. Why wouldn't it clip somewhere in Spain as well? So the phenomenon, which began in Switzerland on Friday, brings with it a very clear worsening of sunlight and visibility. Added that it must have come from the other side. Added to that is an increase in concentrations of fine particles. The what is it? Swiss, right? Meteo Suisse.
Yeah, I think so. Well, that doesn't make any sense either, because it probably would have impacted Italy if it came from the other direction.
Right. I just don't get it. So with the dust concentrated at lower than 3,000 meters, around 9,800 feet, air quality was especially affected, with Switzerland's air check monitoring application flagging high levels of pollution in a corridor stretching from the southeast to the northeast. So it's almost like a jet stream threw it straight onto Switzerland.
Right.
Yeah. Nature said, screw Switzerland today. In neighboring France, local authorities in the southeast and south announced that the air pollution threshold was breached on Saturday, with Horalt Department asking residents to avoid intense physical effort. Beat them to it a long time ago. So yeah, everything's a haze. And they say that it's due to improve today. So this is yesterday's news. The last 24 hours. It's always last 24 hours. Okay. Let's keep going though, right? Not too much that we can say about this.
Yeah, there's not much more. Hopefully the winds will shift and it'll lift quickly.
Yeah, push it over into Spain, right? Or
well, no, just that it dissipates.
Germany's not doing anything. Just throw it up there. So over in ohmTown Daily, the next article is McSki in Sweden is McDonald's only ski-through restaurant where you can grab a Big Mac to take down the slopes. McDonald's has just one McSki or ski-through, which is located in Sweden's biggest resorts, in one of Sweden's biggest resorts. Hungry skiers. What the hell is going on today? Hungry skiers can stop for hot chocolates, Big Macs, and donuts. It offers table service if you can ski off, or you can ski off with your food. In the US, it's easy to get a Big Mac delivered to your house or order one at the drive-thru, but one restaurant in Sweden lets you ski off with your meal.
How do you ski off with a hot chocolate?
Well, depending on the angle of attack or your skill, I guess you could just kind of, you stow your ski poles, right? Like if you were playing D&D, you would put your swords right there so that you can just grab your swords.
Oh, I see.
And so you have a scabbard for your ski poles on your back, like every good skier does, right? You might puncture you have a water bag back there because you got to stay hydrated, bro. Anyway, Grace Dean over at Business Insider put the article together, and it's the McCafe Barista Cafe. Pretty cool.
I wonder if you can get there without skiing to it. Like, is it accessible if you go to the resort, or do you have to be, up on the Black Diamond slope or something to get to it?
Yeah, it's way up there. Because, they're much more health conscious, so they want you to really hustle to get up there. Burn some calories.
Yeah, to work off. Exactly.
They're like, come on up, fatty. Let's see. McSki Restaurant, as it is also known, opened in 1996 and feeds hungry skiers throughout the winter. This is pretty brilliant. I can't imagine this is inexpensive, though. I wonder how much the menu is there. It doesn't offer delivery, but you can get food either to eat in, including table service, which is widespread at McDonald's Swedish restaurants, or to ski away from its famous hatch. I'm really interested in this. I don't know. Let's move ohmTown to Sweden.
This would be really cool to see.
McDonald's has about 200 restaurants in Sweden with 400,000 customers daily per its website. In Sweden, it's nicknamed Donken. It's the restaurant that follows in the heels of Dokken. So you're rocking with Donken.
Well, I thought the name was weird because it kind of sounds like Dunkin', which presumably is a competitor to McDonald's. So
it may not be in Sweden though, so
right.
And if it's not doing business there, then it can't get a mark there. So McDonald's Sweden menu includes many familiar items like McNuggets, the Filet-O-Fish, which isn't always around, McFlurries, and milkshakes. It's pretty awesome. Imagine getting a milkshake while you're up there. Like as you're skiing, it freezes.
You probably want something warm.
But there's also things that U.S. diners might not recognize, like hot wings, McToasts, and a vegetarian burger with sour cream and chive sauce. It has a range of gluten-free burgers, too. Cool. Added drinks to the menu. Cakes, donuts, cookies, macarons in various flavors. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is really neat.
And just so y'all know, Business Insider always does this little, when they post something, they have pictures and then a block of text and then some really great pictures that really represent the material that they're talking about. And I really
Yeah, I don't know
dig
how they
Business
do it.
Insider.
Like, this would have been a little difficult to come by, right?
Yeah. I don't know if there were supposed to be more pictures here, but anyway, I subscribe to Business Insider because I value their work. And so while we only talk a little bit about each of the articles, we encourage you to go over and read the rest of it because we don't go into really great depth. They say it's a very special McDonald's. Everyone is happy. Everyone is in vacation mode. One video uploaded in December by TikToker Irene DeWitt showing her snowboarding up to the order hatch to collect a burger has 7.6 million views. And there's more over at this article to go and watch, but it says knocking a star off or cooking everything to order while you freeze your bits off outside, one person wrote. Which, considering it has indoor table service, you should have 1 star knocked off for your bad review. Anyway.
I don't know how you could give this a bad review, like, no matter what. It's just so different.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that McDonald's sees enough value way up there to, spin it up. Although, maybe a mom and pop shop might do the same thing. I don't know about the supply chain to the mom and pop shop up that mountain, but hey, it is what it is. Let's keep going. Fun news. This next article is over on ohmTown Daily. Profit from video games that were turned into movies doubled in 2023, and Hollywood wants more. They always do. What is the name of that thing that's on YouTube? Pitch
Meeting.
Pitch Meeting.
Nice.
Yeah, go look up Pitch Meeting. Basically, it's kind of a jocular. Or wait, no, it's a. What are they called? Satirical pitch meeting regarding various movies. So the picture over on Business Insider, which is where this is sourced from, is about Super Mario Brothers movie. Hollywood is increasingly adapting video games into movies and TV shows. The trend contrasts with declining interest in comic book adaptations. Video game studios are cautious, fearing adaptations could compromise their intellectual properties. I don't see how that happens. I really don't. Mainly because a video is a video, a movie is a movie. I'm sorry, a movie is a movie and a game is a game. You're not getting interactivity with a movie. It just doesn't work that way. But it can solidify people's interest in your product if the movie is entertaining. It says people
right. It might draw people in or kind of cement their interest in the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go and see Super Mario Brothers, but I'm not much of a Super Mario Brothers game player. 7 different major film releases in 2023 were based on video games, including Gran Turismo and Five Nights at Freddy's. At least 19 television shows based on video games debuted last year as well, according to Ampere Analysis. That other stat about 7 different major films was from the Wall Street Journal. So you can see how the internet is rightfully interconnected with its information exchange. And we do the same. But we talk about it. Kenneth Nehmeyer over at Business Insider put the article together. I just don't see why anybody would be worried about their IP. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, for crying out loud, Barbie.
No, not at all.
Oh my God. No. This can't be right. The Super Mario Brothers movie brought in $1.36 billion in 2023. The second largest margin behind Barbie. The Super Mario Brothers movie brought in $1.36 billion with a B.
I think that's correct. I know it's not 1 million.
But I thought people were mocking it because of the haphazard Italian accent that was thrown in there. Like somebody just said,
yeah, but if you're like a hardcore player of it, or there's the nostalgia factor, right? And you might bring your kids to it.
Right. Wow, this is a really telling fact here, a little data point. I'm not sure what the source is from this. It just says according to the outlet, which I think is from ComStore, ComScore, not store, ComScore. Superhero films made about 1 billion domestically in 2023, which is down 42% in 1 year. That's amazing. Meanwhile, video games have made 712.2 million, more than double the total from 2022, according to the outlet. So I'll say this again, and I've said it every time we've talked about movies. If the source material is rich, people will be engrossed and then talk about it. And then more people go and see it. And they tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, and so on and so on. It's marketing for a shampoo commercial back in the 80s or something, where they tell their friends, they tell their two friends, and they tell their two friends. I think it's amazing, and the gaming sector is only growing, I think. Meanwhile, even though that they're growing, they exploded on the scene and then started to retract employment. So I'm not quite sure what the dynamic is here, other than employees give countless hours and then they have this crunch time area where it's pushed even harder, and then they get booted because you have to appeal to the investors. But the investors have irrational demands of the return on their investment, and that's probably the biggest frustration in my life when it comes to
I think movie studios are afraid to try anything that doesn't already have a following, and so I think video games are like this area where they do have a built-in following. Like there's so much money that gets poured into movies that I don't think they want to take risks on unknown things. And I forgot who it was, but somebody was speaking about that at the Oscars. Basically, if you could make, one movie for $1 billion, you could make multiple movies that
Right.
only cost whatever,
Yeah.
$1 million, 10 million.
Right. Yeah. Is it worth it? Netflix, it says, for instance, canceled Resident Evil just after one season in 2022. They called it the most boring, pointless garbage of the year with nothing in common with its source material. And again, all that does is speak to what I've been saying. If it doesn't have rich writing aligned with the source material, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to buy into it. That's why the ones that are actually adhering to it, that have like amazing source material, right? So Le Carré, right?
Right. Yeah. For the spy genre.
Right. And Lee, with
Lee
Reacher,
Child.
right? All of this is superb writing, very rich, colorful. People really get engrossed in the characters, and they actually identify with them, even though that they're way beyond the scope of somebody's real life. But you kind of you fall in love with these characters. They're a lot of fun to watch do their antics, whatever they are. Resident Evil, though, unless you stick to the story and it aligns with the overall world building, you're not going to get people sticking to it. But that's why some games have absolutely no problem. Super Mario Brothers, right? It's such a dynamic world that you could pretty much, as long as you write something that aligns with the nostalgic aspect of it, you're going to get a win. So I don't know.
Well, people are going to go to see it. Maybe they're not going to like it, but they're going to at least buy a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. But they did like it, apparently. $1.3 billion, for crying out loud. That's insane. The Netflix series Cyberpunk Edge Runners, for instance, made him feel like the production team was considering him as a gamer when creating the show. That's Adon Razak, I guess, or Razaku? Not sure how they pronounce their last name. A 22-year-old software engineer from Austin told the outlet that noticing Easter eggs in the 2022 Netflix series, for instance, made him feel like the production team was considering him as a gamer when creating the show. And that's the thing. You're going to have to appeal to the people who play the games. Otherwise, you're going to have horrible cheerleading out in the real world. But you got to stick to the material. And if your writers actually go off the rails from what the source material is, the developers of that source material had better embrace it publicly, right? Actually, even if the first movie is kind of teetering on bad, the writers of that source material should take the movie's material and incorporate it in the next writing so it becomes canon.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then people will go back and it'll become a cult hit because people are like, oh God, this was horrible. Oh my God, it was foretelling what the next book was about or the next game was
then
about
that'll
or something.
gain a lot of traction.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going. Right? Yeah, let's keep going. Come on. This next article is over in the Marble channel, and it is titled "Song Lyrics Are Getting Simpler, More Repetitive." According to a study, you're not just getting older. Song lyrics really are becoming simpler and more repetitive, according to a study published on Thursday. The article is actually over in phys.org. It doesn't have a source, but right? Yeah, there's no
That's
source.
odd.
Yeah, it's kind of unique. Lyrics have become angrier and more self-obsessed over the past 40 years, the study found, reinforcing the opinions of cranky aging music fans everywhere. A team of European researchers analyzed the words in more than 12,000 English language songs across the genres of rap, country, pop, R&B, and rock from 1980 to 2020. Before detailing how lyrics have become more basic, the study pointed out that U.S. singer-songwriter legend Bob Dylan, who rose to fame in the 1960s, has won a Nobel Prize in Literature. All right.
Well, I mean, that is a good counterpoint, right? Because if you hear a song where it says something like the word "oh" 1,000 times,
right?
It's like there's not a lot of genius behind those lyrics. Or whatever it is, just like a completely repetitive song.
Yeah, I get it. So what we have also been witnessing in the last 40 years is a drastic change in the music landscape. From how music is sold to how music is produced. Over the 40 years studied, it was a repeated upheaval in how people listen to music. The vinyl records and cassette tapes of the 80s gave way to CDs of the 90s, and the arrival of the internet led to the algorithm-driven streaming platforms of today. I think it's pretty amazing. We've gone from physical media to nobody having any physical media rights. You've lost your for sale doctrine. You don't have any portability other than the digital framework. You can't rip your own copies of it legally. You can't sell it if you don't like it anymore. You can't even transfer it to somebody if you don't want it anymore. You're done. You purchased it. It's a sunk cost. Better enjoy it for the rest of your life. And who knows what happens post your demise if you have 1,000 movies in your Apple iTunes library. It may go with you to your grave if you don't give somebody your password, or a court doesn't find in favor of your loved ones, whoever your family is. And even then, if you were to will it to somebody, it would take a court to approve divulging the password, which they can't do. Apple doesn't have your password. Who knows if they actually can transfer it to somebody. But the rights, they don't say that. The rights say that you have the right to consume it in perpetuity as long as it's available. But some stuff has actually been modified post my purchase.
Which is very interesting.
Books have been removed because the licensing terms weren't correct at the source. Lots of stuff digitally. So it says here, unlike other genres, rock fans most often looked up lyrics from older songs rather than new ones. Rock has tumbled down the charts in recent decades, and this could suggest that fans are increasingly looking back to the genre's heyday rather than its present. Simply put, songs with more choruses that repeat basic lyrics appear to be more popular. Lyrics should stick easier nowadays simply because they are easier to memorize, said Zen Girl. This is also something that they experience when they listen to the radio. So, yeah, people are making shorter, catchier, repetitive songs with more dance or something that just allows people to grab onto it. Not everybody, though, so look around. I mean, there's quite a few.
I think the thing about deciding if you like the song in the first 10 to 15 seconds is interesting, because I would think in years past you didn't necessarily have that option. If you were listening to it on the radio or something, you would just probably wait until the next song came on and probably hear the whole song. But now with streaming and everything, you can flip around and pick specific songs, etc.
Yeah, and I actually I listen to maybe the first 10 seconds of the song, and then I throw myself into the middle of it because I want to hear the bridge. I want to hear like the biggest, most energetic aspect of it. Typically is the middle. So for the study in the journal, the study is actually in the Scientific Reports journal, and the researchers looked at the emotions expressed in lyrics. This is actually somewhat of an odd science because words are linked to emotions in kind of a database. So if you type in a word if you have lyrics that are perceived as angry, it'll shift the statistics. Because I built a search engine that would result in a spectrum of results based on your personality, and one of the things that was analyzed was your social media context and the lexicon that you use in your social media posts. And in doing that, I came to the conclusion that I suppose as long as I was sticking to that metric, then I could weight one way, or as in give it a statistical weighting of its importance over time, and say, well, this evaluation of the emotional context of lyrics may or may not be accurate over time. And here's why. Emotion is something that is not directly tied to a word. Even if you say, dang, or a 4-letter word, or love, it doesn't mean anything emotionally except to the person.
It could be used in a different context than normal usage, depending on how creative the lyrics are.
Yep. And it's entirely based on the subject that's listening to it when you're talking about music or reading, right? But for me, I used it in the context of the actual searcher, right? The person that was using the search engine. So when I evaluated it, it was a series of personality analyses merged together with this emotional expression context as well. But it was about the person, not about the music that they listen to. And you have to interpret beyond arm's reach that the person's listening to the word and hearing the word love, and they feel love. It brings that emotion and thought. You can't do that. You just can't do that. That's why some people have an affinity for Taylor Swift and others do not, because the lyrics speak to those people and not to, vast number of other people. Let's keep going though. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Let's see what I did there. Music sounds good.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess if I had to explain the joke, it's not as funny as spontaneous outbursts. It's been a long day. So, I ventured outside of ohmTown and I lost my credit card. And then I had to go and backtrack, trace my steps. It was at the very first place that I went to. Anyway, so long day. Anyway, but if that is the worst thing to happen today, oh my God, I'm being struck by lightning. This is for the people that are listening to the podcast. So the next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Oklahoma highway reopens following shutdown after a barge hit a bridge. And this is kind of the planes, trains, and automobiles concept of accidents. I don't quite get what's going on. First, we had train cars derailing. Then we had planes that are doing all kinds of things, falling apart.
Dropping pieces.
Mid-flight, tires falling off. I don't know. I guess their planes were shaken, not stirred. And SNL had the funniest line about the CEO of Boeing retiring. They said something like, and he left the press meeting with handfuls of bolts going, good luck finding where these go, and dropping them.
Okay, that's pretty good.
It was on the SNL late night news. What do they call it? What do they call the nightly news? Is that it? Yeah. SNL nightly news. Anyway, so Oklahoma highway reopens after a shutdown after a barge hit it. An Oklahoma highway has been reopened following its closure for a few hours on Saturday after a bridge over the Arkansas River was struck by a barge.
Weekend update.
Oh, weekend update. Thank you. Oops. So this is from the AP, and there again, the video is not doesn't have anything to do with this actual article, but they're talking about the Francis Scott Key Bridge, right? That's what it's called.
Which is interesting given what this article's about.
Yeah. So one of the things that was missing from the Key Bridge was basically concrete blocks placed in front of
dolphins.
No, dolphins swim around and make these sounds.
They're also made out of concrete, according to bridge people.
Bridge people? What are you? I'm a bridge person. So yeah, there's these concrete blocks that get placed in front of bridge pylons to deflect ships from smashing into them. The Key Bridge did not have those. Other bridges in other places do. It was quite shocking to find out that there weren't any like subsurface protections. It's just pretty wild. So troopers with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol closed a portion of Highway 59 south of Salisaw at around 1:25 p.m. after the barge hit the bridge. No injuries were reported on the highway or the barge, according to State Patrol. Essentially, nothing. Engineers came and inspected it, found it to be safe. I would be worried about the nature of this thing from that point on, and as long as nothing. Yeah,
because if anything bent a little bit. But I'm also thinking it's probably lower speed and much lower weight.
Yeah, the one that hit the Key Bridge was 29,000 tons. Yeah, massive. And that bridge was never designed to withstand that little clink of a boat. All it did was hit that one pylon. So anyway, we've been talking about this for a while now, and I made some estimate that I think it's going to be north of $750 million and closer to 10 years before it reopens. Otherwise, they're going to have to fast track this thing, and it is going to have to be an engineering wonder because they still have to put the dolphins in and reconstruct those pylons and rebuild.
Well, I think they're going to redesign it altogether, right? Because the design isn't modern.
Yep. It was basically an erector set, a bunch of little bars super glued together. That when one hit, it pulled the bolts out of all the rest of it and collapsed en masse. So let's go to the last article where we get a return on the whole idea of this being planes, trains, and automobiles. For crying out loud. A cruise ship crashed into a concrete wall along the River Danube in Austria on Friday. The article title is actually River Danube Cruise Ship crashed after it was suddenly no longer able to maneuver. 17 passengers were injured. The ship was suddenly no longer able to maneuver. It says 11 people were hospitalized. 6 others suffered less serious injuries. And the Bulgarian...
So this was submitted because of the loss of maneuverability, which is the same issue that happened in the Baltimore collision.
Yeah, and the Baltimore collision, actually, it had been in for servicing, apparently, right?
Mm-hmm.
This article is over at Business Insider as well. Cameron Manley is the author. And it says the incident occurred late on March 29th in the northern Austrian town of Oshak? Onderdonu, I suppose. I'm probably not pronouncing it properly, but hey, I'll give it that. For whatever reason, I think I'm pronouncing it very French, and I don't know. I don't think that's
it
how
does sound kind of French.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's like IEU at the end, how you said it.
So,
but you did a better job than I would have. So.
Yeah, and you're a sentient AI from the future. You're supposed to be a polyglot.
I missed that part of the code.
Yeah. I guess we just ended up with the glot. So, 11 people were injured. The ship had set off from Passau, a German city on the Austrian border, but further down the river, when leaving the lock chamber, the ship suddenly was no longer able to maneuver, and its right bow and left aft crashed into the lock walls, apparently. And so the second in command pressed the emergency switch, whereupon the electronics started up again. Wow. That's all you have to do is hit that button that says start up again.
Like the emergency button or whatever.
Interesting. I don't know if that's actually it, though. The ship crashed into a concrete wall in the night of March 29th, 2024. But this is Getty Images.
Looks like it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But that's all 10 of them. We ripped through this pretty quick. I didn't get a chance to soapbox, so maybe I should go back to one of the earlier articles and soapbox. For 30 minutes.
Do you want to pick one for soapboxing?
Sure. Why not? Nah, we won't do that. We've got 3 other shows that are going to come hot in the heels of this one. When do you want to do the next show? 6:30 or 6:15?
Sure. And like 15 minutes would be fine.
So 6:15 we'll start. We have to reset, and then we'll start up another episode. It won't be of ohmTown Daily News show, but stick around. I think you'll enjoy it. But we always go back to the racing down Main Street to the welcome sign of ohmTown.com. That's what powers all of this. And I'm not gonna. Do you think I should refresh? Nah.
No, I would not.
All right. Well, anyway, I am Mayor Watt, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI. How's it looking? Is it pretty active when you're talking?
Let's try. I think so.
Yeah, looks pretty good. All right, we'll keep it. So, again, I'm Mayor Watt, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI from the future. We're out. We'll see you in about, 7 minutes now? Because I keep talking. You want to say bye?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. We will see you shortly for more shows.
Ciao. Oh, my boat.